Hey Hugs, just a reminder before you get into the show that we have merchandise, yes, and you can find it on our Ugly Truth website. There's a little tab, you can click on it, and then you can peruse to see all of our styles. You can grab a mug or a sticker. We have hoodies and t-shirts, pretty much anything you would want to show your pride for being an Ugly Truth listener. Thank you so much for supporting us. Enjoy the show. Welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is episode 545.
It's an extra long one.
So excited.
Oh my God, I saw the new merch you put on.
The pint glass?
I love them. I have to order one immediately.
No, I already ordered you one.
Oh, you did? Did you get me the
That's the backside.
Oh my God. Oh, oops. Whew.
Front and back.
Stephanie's extra loud today.
I ordered a bunch,
it.
and so they haven't come yet. But I assume that it's, I want it immediately because we live in a world where you can.
We want Amazon tomorrow.
Exactly. I'm like, this is not Amazon. Why do we need it?
I have to wait a week.
I mean,
I ordered new masks on Friday. I have not stopped checking that tracking thing. I'm like, where is it? It's coming from LA. I'm like, it's Tuesday for God's sakes.
And apparently, they've all warned us. Look at the postal service.
Everything is backed
slow
up.
And blah blah blah.
I haven't been able to get parakeet food at my local Safeway for a month.
Yeah,
people are like, it's ravaged. There's nothing left.
You know what? Daryl and I, we had it, I'm talking about it next week, but we had a date, but I'll tell you about it next week. But we were at the grocery store and the shelves were empty.
Bare.
And I'm like, what is going on? Is it merch?
Well, no, first of all, it's welfare week, okay?
Oh,
the first week
yes.
of 10th, that doesn't help. But even before
I forgot about that.
Food stamps and all that was granting, everything was gone at my, and I was like, is it a combination of, now I've noticed that on Sundays, every soccer mom on the planet goes to
they're
grocery
getting
store,
their lunch for the
and
week.
so all that shit's gone.
Yep.
On top of it, the lady's like, we cannot get deliveries. Like, it's just not coming in.
And the other thing I've noticed is, at least at the one I go to, is they can't pay people to stock the shelves.
Oh, they can't pay people to work.
They're underemployed. And I'm telling you. I remember when I was a teenager, getting a job at the grocery store was money.
It was. It was like the best job. You work at Rayleigh's? Oh my God.
You're unionized. You get triple overtime if you work Thanksgiving.
Totally.
Like all these things.
Your hourly is great to start.
I remember thinking I would work every holiday.
I would too.
Forever.
And you know what? They do too.
I would. I have no problem with it.
They totally do.
I'd be like,
I'm like, if I ever get fired from working at the county, I am 100% getting a job at a grocery store.
Hell yes.
Yep.
I will stand there and check all day.
Hell yeah.
I mean, our checkers at the place we work, first of all, it's surrounded by a community that has a predominant level of geriatrics.
Yes.
And when I mean geriatrics, I mean
you're the demographics in that area is just retirement age.
When that opened, all the people who were close to retirement bought there because it was cheap, it was close. It's still Rancho Cordova, but they called it something else.
They do call it something else.
They slapped a label on it, and everyone went,
fancy label.
This is nice.
I still like that part of town, though. I'm sorry.
Anyway, I don't know what we were talking about, grocery store, but anyway, blah, blah, blah.
We were talking about not being able to get deliveries and the stores being bare, and
the pint glasses are en route.
The pint glasses are en route.
I don't know when they're coming,
and the price of steaks, by the way.
We bought a tomahawk steak at Costco.
Yeah, how much? Oh, Costco.
It was like, I want to say it was, I don't know how much it was. It was not $100 or anything like that, but it
wouldn't surprise me.
It was high.
Yeah.
And I'm not comfortable paying that kind of money for like a one meal.
What? But that's abnormal. You can normally get a tomahawk steak for like $40, $50.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
Because it's huge. It's like 3 pounds of meat.
$60.
Yeah.
It was something.
But right now, everything's just exorbitant.
And we've never had a tomahawk steak, so we bought it.
They're delicious.
We made it the other night, and I'm like, this is really good. And like,
they are delicious.
The crap out of it,
The ribeyes.
Oh my God, it was so freaking good.
They are my favorite.
Even the fatty part was like,
oh my God.
It was like my mouth was watering when I was eating. I'm like, I don't even like the fatty part, but this one I love.
Delicious. You know what? I gotta stop bitching.
In butter.
Oh my God, Jamie, that's how I cook mine.
It was so freaking good.
Well, we don't eat them every day,
no,
so I mean, who cares?
Ever.
Yeah,
ever. I can't remember the last time we had a steak.
Delish.
Anyway. So the pint glass. So I did get you one. So
yay! I'm so excited. Oh my God, I cannot wait. Hey, by the way, do they sell? Do they make like the insulated kind with the lid that you can screw on and like keep ice cold drinks in them? Like reusable.
I have to look if we can get that.
I'd love those bad because I take those to work every single day, and I would love to have my Ugly one.
Yes, they have they have metal water bottle ones.
Oh, cool!
But
Flasks.
but they look almost like a bottle.
Yeah.
They're metal, so they have those.
I love that.
I have to look though because I actually wanted one of those too.
Yeah.
And so I'll see. The holidays are coming, so all the new stuff is coming out.
You should make. we should get some Ugly.
I need to update
holiday
our
merch.
I do, and Daryl and I are working on a beanie.
I would love a beanie.
Do you want it to be black or hot pink?
Gosh, either choices.
Yeah,
I would really love both. Black looks amazing on anything.
Black. Yeah, me too. Black with the hot pink logo.
But sometimes I kind of like pinkish things.
Daryl's like, we should hit trucker hats. I'm like, okay, sure.
Why trucker hats?
He loves trucker hats.
Is he gonna wear one?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if he will or not. He said they're very popular. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they are. They're not my...
I don't like them. I bought a trucker hat once that said baby girl on it. I'm not proud of it. This was many years ago.
Well, is a trucker hat any different from like my Raiders hat?
Well, trucker hats have the mesh back.
Yeah, okay.
And usually have the adjustable.
Yes, thank you.
And the brim is kind of flatter.
Jeffrey bought one of those when we went to Santa Cruz, and he looks so cute in it.
They're adorable.
Well, he's tiny, and little people look good in everything.
That's true. It's hard to make a baby look ugly.
Absolutely. So yeah. I was trying to find a new Raiders hat the other day. I was shopping on the NFL shop website, and there are so many.
There's tons.
The choices are endless, and they're so okay. I will. They're worth every penny. Mm-hmm. I don't have any problem paying for what you get on the NFL because their merch is really nice.
Yeah,
but I mean, I want like 3, and they're like $30 a piece.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm not spending $100 and something on hats.
You just gotta go when there's a sale. But there's usually a sale.
There was a small sale, but
so speaking of the Raiders, the game was last night.
Ugh, God.
All right, so here's the thing. Yes, they played terribly.
The Chargers were fucking bomb.
The Chargers played well.
They played well, and their defense is amazing.
And this new thing where we're warming up and then finally coming together in the third quarter.
Ain't working, Chucky.
Like, why are we doing this?
I don't know. Chucky was pissing me off last night beyond. I was like, why do you keep running the ball? You're losing. Just throw it. What happened to your quick pass? He used to be famous for that. Now he doesn't do it anymore.
You know what's really funny about that is that I first quarter, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? What is going on? He's like...
Because he had Jacobs back, I think he was like, well, let's run it.
Yeah, and he goes, they just want to run the ball. They want to run the ball. I'm like, why? Now, listen, I am not confident in Carr's passing either. Like, he throws quite a few interceptions for the most part. Mm-hmm. But it's been going well. He's the number 1 quarterback in yards. Like, why are we all of a sudden... We're like, no, we're going to use Ruggs now. And I'm like, okay, look, Ruggs had one real good play.
He did.
But it's not like he scored a touchdown.
Well, my problem is this. When I feel like Chucky comes in with a plan of how he's going to play the game.
And does not budge.
And he doesn't deviate from it. I mean, when he saw the way their defense was playing last night, he should have been like, you know what? Pump the brakes. We need to reevaluate how we were going to play this game.
Yes.
Because they're killing us. They're crushing us.
It was embarrassing.
And not only that, but the penalties, hello. When you start getting sloppy like that, you start making mistakes. I mean, spiking the fucking ball.
Stephanie, that was the most ridiculous call.
It was ridiculous.
Ever. If Travis Kelce, the darling tight end of the NFL, who, by the way, I caught his eye once at a game, I'm not going to lie. I did. I was on the sidelines.
He saw you and he's like, hey.
I was on the sidelines of a Raider game. It was back in Oakland. And we were on the sidelines watching the warm-up.
Look at this white girl. Woo!
And I know he doesn't like white girls, but I'm not all white.
But you're not. No, you always say this.
I'm not. So anyway, we're standing on the sidelines. We're watching everything, and I'm right in the front because I had my camera and I didn't want to miss anything. And of course, it was just I was so absorbed in everything. And Daryl's standing next to me.
It's just the funnest thing ever.
I had on a jacket that had a fur line hoodie because it was chilly.
Yeah, always.
And so I'm standing there and I had my Ray-Bans on. And of course, I looked amazing because we're at a Raider game and I wanted to look really good.
And you might be on TV, for God's sake.
Well, that's kind of the thing. You never know.
Yeah, you totally never know.
And we were not in the black hole at that game. But anyway, we're standing there on the sidelines. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm on like the 30-yard line. Like, I'm literally looking at the chalk and
so
it's like
fun.
The players are this close to me. And I actually have a picture of us behind the Chiefs coming out of the locker room.
Oh, sweet.
We literally had to wait for them to leave and then we followed them out to the field.
Oh my God, how fun.
And so I have a really cool picture of it. I'll have to show it to you.
Yeah.
I did not know who Travis Kelce was at this point because I don't give a shit about the
I really
Chiefs.
don't follow, yeah.
So we're standing there, and I'm not looking at anything, and I'm just looking at all the players going, God, they're way bigger than you think. You know,
my God,
they're so huge.
huge.
They're giants.
They are. Even the little ones that look little, you're like, that guy's little. No, they're huge.
No, they're giant. And so just like standing there just absorbing the fact that I'm on the field at Oakland Coliseum and I can't believe it. And all of a sudden I look and there's this football player and I don't think he's staring at me. Like, my God.
Did you turn around and look? Be like, is there a hot blonde behind me?
I did. I looked around like that and Jared goes, he's looking at you. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no. I'm like, come on. I'm like, no, these are professional athletes.
These guys can get like anybody fucking chick
they want
on the world.
Come on. I'm like,
supermodels and actresses and
like,
all
he
that.
must have sunglasses on. He has no idea what he's really looking at. He goes, well, he was looking at you. And so to this day,
you're like, yeah.
I'm like, oh, Kelsey. And Daryl's just like, your boyfriend. And I'm like, look, I know a lot about him now because I did a ton of research after that
You're
event.
like, who is this man?
Yeah, first of all, he's adorable.
And he's like 25.
I don't think he's that young, but he's young. He's like Post Malone young, maybe.
Yeah, right.
But I'm like, he had a reality show trying to find a girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was all beautiful women of color.
Right.
He does not like white girls.
No.
I'm like, trust me, he wasn't looking at me.
We've had this discussion, me and my bestie at work, about men and their types and everything, and I'm like, you know, because I have a tendency to like ethnic men too. Yeah. At least when I'm looking.
Sure.
I've yet to settle down with one. I always get the same fucking thing, white, you know, whatever.
Yes.
But when I'm looking, you know, and I'm like, oh, he's hot or whatever, or somebody that I kind of know at work that I have a little bit of a relationship with, there's something about their personality that just like does it for me.
Yeah.
And they're always like Latino or black or whatever.
Sure.
And I'm like, yeah, but you know, and Veronica's like, yeah, I mean, I'm like, but they don't like white girls. They just don't. They're not into
do.
some. And she goes, yeah. She's like, well, that's what she said. She's like, Latinos like their mistresses white. She's like, and they like their wives Latino.
Well, that's true because you're going to be traditional
family.
at home.
Yeah. So
That's
she's like,
true.
so if that's your cup of tea, and I'm like, well,
I
no.
will never date a Mexican man.
I would, yeah.
I'm not going to categorize all Latinos saying I wouldn't date all Latinos, but Mexican men? No, thank you, sir.
Well, I know
No,
a
thank
few.
you.
One of my girlfriends is very happily married to
That's
one.
fine. That's good.
But she's super dominant too.
Wow, that's unusual.
Yeah.
That's very unusual.
He really lets her wear the pants, and I think that's what works for them.
That's probably why. Although, and I have mentioned this on the show before years ago about Mexican men specifically, it is true that if you get one that's not abusive, of course,
Yeah,
so like
he's
a
so
normal,
not. Yeah.
they will do anything for their daughters.
He reminds
He will literally
me
go broke. He
the
will
kids.
work side jobs. He'll work overtime to
That's
get
funny.
his baby girl whatever.
Well, they have
she
sons,
wants.
but
well, then he teaches them how to be gentlemen.
he does.
But man,
he
do they love
loves
their
her
children.
like Daryl is with you.
That's awesome.
He
It's
literally
rare.
just worships her.
That's awesome.
He loves her so bad.
I love that.
I do
Oh my
too,
God.
which is why I'm like, oh, I hate you, Veronica.
Because honestly, if I have had some encounters with men of our
Yeah.
people, and they are hot.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I can see why they have all the things.
Right,
Like
it's
they're
true.
they're very hot, no doubt. But
Indeed.
as far as like long-term marriage, I'm like, no. Not for
Yeah,
me.
no,
Thank
probably
you.
not. Yeah.
But because you just never know what you're going to get. That's the problem.
That's true. Well, you know what? I'm of the age now to where I can't even fathom the thought of being married to someone else again.
Oh my God. I've had
It's
this
just too
conversation
exhausting.
so many times with Daryl. He's like, I'll never marry again. I'm like, yeah, you will. He
But
goes,
it's not for the same reason that he's saying.
yeah, and I go, no, I
For
can
me.
honestly tell you in my gut, I will never get married again.
Yeah.
I'm not going through this shit again.
I'm not going through it again.
It's so hard.
I mean, it would have to be so easy.
It would be.
He would have to literally come in and like physically lift me off my feet. I'm not talking about like, oh, you're no, literally, and like put me in a fluffy chair and be like, you don't have to do anything ever again
the rest of your life.
And then I'd be like, all right, fine, I'll marry you. But other than that, I'm not lifting a finger for a marriage again.
I am not interested in new compromises,
No.
new habits, new annoyances. knew
and there
everything.
Are many. Yeah.
I mean, you know, and the thing is at this point, even if it was to happen next year or next week,
yeah,
nobody who isn't my age is interested. I'm going to be looking. My dating pool has shrunk dramatically.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that.
Which means now I'm dealing with health issues, retirement goals,
right,
like all the crap that you don't want to deal with a new human.
No.
I'm like, come on. I'm like, you could die tomorrow. I don't want to do this. I'm like,
Agreed.
God.
Agreed.
Just the whole thing is so repellent.
But you know what? I wonder if we just think that because we are in, you know, happy marriages or whatever, where we're not even thinking about being what that would be like.
Yeah, but I know myself so well, Stephanie. I just know I'm like, I'm not doing this twice.
I think we have like the close sign on our forehead.
Oh,
so
100%. Yes.
If we were single because they got hit by a truck tomorrow, and you know we got over it or whatever, I think we wouldn't have that same aura. Like we wouldn't be like, get the fuck away from me, like we are now.
I don't know. I can't. I'm not saying that I would never have sex again. I'm just saying that the married part of it, I'd be like, look, unless I turned into that person who married for money, I can't see it. You know, I can't see it.
I don't think I could marry for money now at my age because there's just too much bullshit you have to put up with.
Oh my
and
God,
I don't think the payoff's worth it.
I don't think so either. Unless they're way
Honestly.
older than me, and I know they may pass. But don't have adult children either, because I don't want to deal with that shit at all.
Well, and you will, and that's the thing. It's like all these young, like the chick that's married to Mick Jagger right now. Jesus, she's 35 and he's like 80.
Oh my God.
And they just had a kid, but he's got 16 children below her. Some of them older than her.
I know.
Do you think when daddy dies, they're going to be like, here, bitch, you can have all the money? They're going to be like, fuck you.
No, this is a very large pie, and you get a slice.
You get a sliver, honey.
Like the rest of us.
Yeah, no, we're getting chunks. You get a sliver. But I'm really enjoying the season.
I too.
I really want to go to Vegas. I got invited to Game of a Lifetime.
What?
One of a really good friend of mine at work. She is a diehard. She's been in the black hole. She literally is friends with that guy that has like spikes all over his face.
Yes.
She's been going to games for 40 years.
That's like Daryl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, she's older than Daryl, much older. So she's been doing it for a long time. And
you know, Daryl's dad was one of the original members of the Raider Nation.
I believe it.
Raider Nation.
Yeah.
He had season tickets in the Black Hole before it was called the Black Hole.
Right. So that's my friend Bev, okay?
Yeah.
Because she's of that same genre. She's probably almost 70.
Okay.
So anyway, I love seeing her because we constantly shoot the shit. When you walk into her office, it's black. Her whole office is
she's a hardcore
covered
fan.
in merch.
Hardcore,
People get unusual things for her. Like, look what I found all over the world.
That's
you know,
awesome.
yeah, she's one of those people. So
I love it.
And she loves the fact that I'm a Raiders fan. And
course.
she finally figured out that I'm not like just a normal girl fan.
No.
Like I'm a diehard fan.
Yeah, we know everything.
Yeah, and so she's like, we shoot the shit, and so she emailed me the other day. She's like, I don't suppose you would ditch your family on Christmas Eve to come to Vegas with me. And I'm like,
why?
Beverly? I'm like, well, I don't want to get divorced. She's like, and your point? And I'm like, well, what is it? She's like, I got these amazing VIP tickets. They're sideline. She's like, they are amazing. She's like, and no one in my family will go with me. She's like, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity, so I bought them.
How much?
She's like, she didn't tell me.
Oh.
She just wanted me to go.
Stephanie, do it.
On Christmas Eve?
I'll watch your family.
I have a 9-year-old.
So?
I can't go on Christmas Eve.
You'll be back.
That's what she was saying. You sound like her.
You'll be back.
Believe me, I was like, oh my God. I was like, how could I do this and get away with it?
I will tell you this. From my own, if it was me, if Daryl approached me and told me that, I'd say, you better, if you don't go, I'll make friends with your friend, and I will go.
My husband's very selfish.
You have to go.
He would be so jealous.
That's fine.
He would be like, I want to go.
I'm so jealous, but I want you have to go.
Oh my God.
No, I want you to go. Well, I know, oh God, you just won't do it.
I mean, it's Christmas Eve. If she would have asked me any other day, with the exception of Jeff's birthday, I mean, those 2 days, I would probably go. I'm like, dude.
Or you could do something
I can't
outrageous.
imagine my son waking up Christmas morning and not being there.
Do something completely outrageous.
Take the family to Vegas.
Celebrate Christmas Day in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun for my son.
Stay at the Bellagio. They have amazing floral displays at the Christmas time. You can have some amazing Christmas Eve meal.
I could actually probably pull that off.
Oh, my God.
I don't think Jeff would hate it.
He would love it.
Because it's so bright and sparkly.
I mean, the Bellagio is shockingly kid-friendly. And
I mean, I think most of Vegas is these days, and we don't gamble.
But the hotels are...
That's what I'm talking about. They're like resorts.
That's what I mean, is that the hotels are now so resort-friendly that you could go and be like, what a cool thing to remember your whole life. Your mom you missed your mom for 6 hours, but for the rest of the time, we're in Vegas in this super plush, amazing hotel.
Jeff's just like us, and to the point to where, like, even though he's 9, he wouldn't know what it was like to stay in a less than hotel. He'd be like, what is this hovel we're in?
It's like, did I just step down?
He's like, hello. He's like, this is a motel?
What do you mean no room service? We have to go down to the lobby and get waffles?
Exactly. I mean, when we walk into hotels, when we come to our suite or whatever, I mean, his shoes are off the moment he's through the threshold.
Oh, gosh.
The bell guy is already just still putting our stuff away, and he's on the bed, iPad on, kicking back. He's like, yeah.
This is the life.
Do they have the Disney Channel here? When can I have a hamburger?
You know, the one thing I've had to get used to as far as hotels, though, is that everybody's on streaming services only now.
That's true.
And I used to really like watching the local TV news.
I do too.
The news part.
I love watching the news.
Because especially when I'm in a different random city.
It's so fun.
It's so funny.
That's so funny that you like that. I do too.
Like, I can't remember where. It was New York. We were in New York, and I was watching the local New York. I'm like, this is interesting. I can't believe I'm watching this.
And it's different, too. You're like, the people, the anchors and
They're
stuff.
like, hi, George. And I'm like, we would never have someone named George in ours, or whatever. You get a real personality feel for the city you're in.
It's true.
And I think, or even like
it's
when we would go to like
exciting.
Monterey or anywhere.
Plus, it's fun to like watch the weather and like the local news, like who got shot last night. And you're like, oh my God.
You're like, where's that? Are we in that part of town?
Right.
No, where is that?
No, we're in Manhattan.
And we were.
I know you were.
It was amazing. Anyway, all right. Well,
we're going to be in Brooklyn? I don't think so.
Brooklyn?
Right.
Okay, so speaking of adventures, quick recap. How was the air show?
Oh, it was fab. It was really fabulous. Yeah. The only thing is that it was very hot that day.
Of course.
So the air show was 2 days long.
Isn't the air show always hot?
Well, generally, yeah, because
like
it's in September. It's in early September.
Indian summer.
And well, everywhere else in the country they're experiencing fall this time of year, but this is California, so I mean, I had my daughter on September 26th, and it was 102 that day.
Yep.
So it's not unusual for us for it to be hot, but of the 2 days, you buy the tickets on the day you want to attend. So we bought for Saturday. Saturday it was 96, which doesn't sound hot, but it's hot when you're out in the sun.
And it's asphalt.
Yeah, it's fucking hot.
Metal.
Right? And then Sunday, of course, it was like 82. So I was just thrilled that I chose Saturday.
We're going to Hades today, children.
I know. And I'm like, yes, and tomorrow's actually perfect. So anyway, but other than that, it was really fun. It was very loud. My son wasn't a huge fan of the F-35, which was that fighter jet, and it's so cool as far as like what it does. Jerry and I were like, oh my God, wow, because it was right in front of us, but it was so loud because it kept breaking the sound barrier.
Oh yeah, we heard it.
That Jeff was like holding his ears, and he was like balled up in my lap. They do, right? So I'm like, I'm on the march. I'm gonna go get you some earmuffs, son.
Yeah.
So I take off, they have one earmuff stand in the whole effing place.
Oh.
There's thousands of children walking around with their little earmuffs on because every fucking parent on the planet was like, oh shit, we better buy these little fucking earmuffs. So I get up there after walking like 10 fucking miles to get to the goddamn thing. I'm sweating. I'm beet red. I actually have people who are working there like, do you have sunscreen, dear? You're awfully red. I'm like, yes, Jesus. I have sunscreen. Good.
I'm just hot.
I'm hot. Yes, and I'm very white. I'm like an albino. So I get there and all they have is hot pink.
Okay.
All they had was hot pink.
Did you buy them?
No, because Jeff would refuse.
He would not wear the pink ones?
He wouldn't even wear the purple ones, and they were like dark purple.
Oh, for God's sake.
It had to be black or red or blue, and those were sold out.
Of course.
So he had to suffer through the fucking air show.
Oh, man.
It was fun, though, because the VIP tickets we got included a full catered lunch, which was lovely. Yep,
I saw you had cocktails.
It was great, and the cocktails were included.
Oh my God!
So it was a full open bar.
That's amazing,
and that's what you pay for, honestly.
Of course.
I mean, shit. So, and since Jerry drove, I was fucking tossing them back.
You showed a picture. You're like, was it a Jack and Coke or rum and Coke?
Rum.
I'm sorry, rum and Coke.
Are you kidding me?
I know. I forgot. You don't do Jack Daniels. That's swill.
Yeah.
What am I, a college student?
I was grateful it was Bacardi, too. I was like, yes, you have Bacardi. Yes! I was so happy.
That sounds like fun. Did you take any photos?
Oh, I took tons of photos.
Oh, okay, cool.
I took videos. I did Facebook Live while I was there.
I watched your Facebook Live.
Yeah, it was terrible because, it's in the middle of an airfield.
So no service.
Well, the Wi-Fi was sucked. Yeah, I was probably going off my data, but I did it anyway. I didn't give a fuck.
It was fun. I'm glad you showed around because I was looking around going, oh, this is a nice tinted area.
It was tinted.
Shade.
They had those giant fans like blow mist.
Oh, those are nice.
So I was standing in front of that for a moment.
Honestly, that to me would be worth the VIP.
It was worth everything. You have your own bathroom.
So you're not. Oh my God. Yes.
That is worth it.
And you know how when you go, like, to the fair, they're all porta potties or whatever. Well, these were porta potties, but they were porta potties that were hidden.
And were they in trailers and
yes.
stuff? Yeah, we've done those. They're so nice.
And actually, so it had actually stalls inside.
Yeah, it was like an actual
real, felt like a regular bathroom.
Yeah.
Yes.
It just happened to not be built into the building. Yes.
Fantastic.
Oh my God,
and the only
those.
people that could use those were the ones that were in the tent. So they were clean and yes,
you know
it was
what?
great.
Sometimes it's worth it to spend just a little extra.
I'm telling you.
to get those things. It's worth it.
Yeah, everybody at work was like, "Oh, we saw your Facebook Live and everything." I'm like, "How much were those tickets?" I was like, "I don't want to tell you."
Yeah, but you know what?
You're gonna judge me.
No one's gonna judge you, especially since it's something that you and Jerry have been doing for ever, decades.
Well, this is only our second time doing the VIP or third time doing the VIP.
No, I know, but I mean, you have been going. You suffered enough that you said, well, how do we get in that tent over there?
I'm not doing it anymore.
And listen, Daryl and I have done things like that where we're like, how do we get over there?
Yes.
And then you ask somebody, they go, oh, well, you have to pay. I'm like, how much? No amount.
No amount is too much for me to be out of the sun.
Here's a check. Write your number.
Yeah.
I will pay it.
Well, that's the thing. We tried to do that the first time, and it's like, you can't upgrade. Those the VIP tickets, they're the first ones to sell out.
Yeah, because everyone wants the bathroom.
It blows my mind. I'm like, everybody has this much money? Jesus, much money?
No, but they also know that if they super love the air show, that standing in the sun like a moron is not what you want.
Well, I mean, there were lines and lines and lines of fathers holding umbrellas. They were holding tents. They had all the stuff on their backs, plus a kid on their shoulder.
That sounds
and the man was like, I hate my fucking life.
I would hate my life.
And there's the woman waddling around,
with all the things, and
with the other two kids.
And the other two kids who are hot.
And I was like, I would not do that ever.
Yeah.
Like, ever.
Those things are hell. Those are the things where I just go, no, I don't. That's nothing.
Almost why I don't do the beach thing. Like when I go to Hawaii, I'm like, it has to be set up for me. Yeah. I'm not dragging all that shit down there.
Oh, God, no.
Are you fucking kidding me? You're lucky if I take a towel.
In fact, Daryl,
there'd be a towel station.
I think the reason that it's not a problem is because Daryl's a man and a dad, and so he has no problem being the pack mule. But when when we went to Hawaii, we had this really.
See, I'm married to a woman. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah. So
he's like, excuse me.
He's like, how much money do we throw at this problem? I am not carrying this chair.
The fact that I bring the stroller and load it up with things, he's like, this is almost too much. Because I actually have to move the stroller.
The best thing that we ever did was get a cabana in front of a pool.
Absolutely.
Stephanie, Daryl turned to me, he goes, I think we're cabana people now. And I go, babe, we were always cabana people. Yeah. We just couldn't afford it.
We just can afford it now, right?
We literally are being waited on hand and foot.
This is why we haven't been poolside in 20 years because we couldn't afford to do it like this.
Yeah.
Now we can. Now we're pool people.
And then, of course, you immediately go, look at those people fighting over that umbrella. How sad. Look at them claiming their mark because they don't want to lose it. So quickly. You lose humility.
I know, right?
Oh my God. True. And then suddenly, so we're whispering to ourselves going, oh God. And then, would you like some more champagne, Mrs. Miner? Yes, thank you. Thank you, Raul. I would love some more. So quickly.
But it's like you do this shit and you spend this money and you fucking get all snooty and stuff. Yeah. And then you get back home and you get the smut, but you're like, this is atrocious. How are we gonna? Oh my God. No more air conditioner.
I thought we were doing smart control. This is not cheap. What is this?
That's because we want Raul to bring us champagne instead of paying for our utilities.
Unbelievable.
Real rich people don't have to choose.
Right.
But anyway, so funny.
Oh my God. Well, it sounds like you had a fun time.
We had a great time. I'm really happy we did it.
VIP for life.
Totally. It's a little, it was funny because when I was telling people that I was going or after I went, it's almost like people get a little fucking judgy. People are fucking judgy about everything. It is so.
Why would they be judgy about
because it's military.
It's the air
It
show.
didn't occur to me. I was like, why am I getting snubbed by a couple people in the room? I'm like,
what's wrong with the air show?
Because they were thinking oh, it's Trumpy people and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that's right. Because if you do anything that's even associated with the military, then you're automatically some fucking conservative asshole.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was my MAGA hat showing?
Yes.
No, the military is the military.
Honestly, yeah. We
everybody benefits from the military.
We all do. Thank you. And you know what?
It started because Jerry is really into anything aviation. It's not even about military. I mean, for him, it is a little.
Son.
My son is diehard aviation. So, I mean, you're literally seeing the most powerful airplanes on the planet
that your taxes pay for. Don't you
right
check
in front
it out?
of you, and any other time you wouldn't get to see something like that.
Dumb.
So I was like, you know what?
so
I can't even tell fucking anybody anything anymore.
That is
so over it.
Because, I mean, Stephanie, we used to go to the air show with our parents. We
It's
went.
fun.
I remember it being terrible, but I mean,
back then it probably was terrible.
But I would. Well, you know what? I think what base is it? Was it Mather?
Yes.
Okay, is it an active base still?
Semi.
Okay, so when we went to the air show as kids, Mather was active.
They're both actually McClellan and Mather. I think are both shut down.
Yeah. So at the time when
but they still land like they
do.
When the president came a couple weeks ago, he landed there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they were active. So I remember the one time I went to the air show as a kid. I remember there being a shit ton of military men there.
Yeah. Oh, there were. Oh, Jamie.
So cute.
Let me not even tell you about the pilot situation.
So cute.
Yeah, I was like, this is fun, especially because they come like at the end after all the major shows are over.
Yeah.
And they kind of mill about, and they were drinking beers and
not to
stuff.
mention, they probably want to see. Well, they fly the planes. I mean,
they do fly the planes. They were in their flight suits, and they had some of them had their little cute wives with them. Some of them didn't. Yeah. But you know, at that point, I was on like my third drink.
I mean, the thing is,
I was getting like ballsy. I was like, I'm going up to one.
You're like, hey there.
Because you know they're into late 40s, you know,
mothers,
right?
Yeah. No, well, now that I think about it, I mean, you go to Fleet Week, you do the air show.
Fleet Week is this weekend in San Francisco.
Are you going?
No,
you guys you have gone.
We used to take our boat there.
Yeah.
And hang out in the bay.
I've always wanted to go to Fleet Week.
It's fun.
I always thought it'd be fun,
especially in San Francisco.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's huge. It's like a big deal. Like the whole city does it.
The military is like the most nonpartisan thing.
I mean, think
individuals can politicize it all they want, but in general, the military defends you all, people. It's not
do.
just. And I personally love seeing. It's so intimidating seeing those planes.
It is.
Like,
God, they're massive.
Damn, they're huge. You have no idea how big they are until you walk up and you're like, God, they're just
so
football
powerful.
players.
Yeah.
You see them in the sky and you're like, oh yeah. You see them on TV, like yeah. Then you see them up close, you're like, wow.
And you know what? It's like if you're not a military family, like if you don't have someone in your family that's in the military,
everyone.
Well, no, we do, but I'm saying like you're not married to someone.
Oh yeah.
You really don't understand. I mean, I think we all have some knowledge that the United States military is the best in the world. We know that, right? Mm-hmm. But when you see these airplanes and the technology and the things that they can do,
crazy.
It's amazing. You're like,
amazing.
Fuck.
In fact, the shit that is really good, we've never seen.
No, you won't see. In fact, these airplanes we're looking at, I'm like, oh my God, that thing. And Jerry's like, these planes that we're looking at, they're like 20 years old.
Yeah, they're not even.
They're hella old. Yeah, we don't even use them anymore. And I'm like,
crazy.
I can only imagine what the new ones.
Well, I find it fascinating personally.
I do too. I love technology.
Okay,
in that way.
Right. Okay, so speaking of cute boys, why can't I speak? I'm trying to think of how to introduce this topic because I'm trying to change the subject in a way.
Just do it.
Daryl's daughter Natalie was here last week, and we had an amazing visit, which we recapped in the show before the show.
Right.
Yep. It was great. Well, we had a family dinner, which we didn't talk about on the show, but all the siblings, their significant others were there. Natalie, the baby, all of us were there. We were having. Now, our dinners are notorious because we talk literally about all the things that you would never talk about at a family dinner. Religion, politics, sex, everything. And everybody is so into it. And it never turns into a fight. Everybody has their opinions, and it's really great. It's a great
And it's
discussion.
actually okay to have your opinion, yeah.
Yeah, and it's because everybody respects the lively debate. It's really fun. And it's been like this forever.
Yeah.
Oh, we always talk about someone's death, always. And so this time,
it's like you guys are Jewish or something.
We were talking about something, and I turned to Malia and I said, well,
did her significant other come?
She does not have one anymore. I know.
Yay!
She's dating an age-appropriate boy.
I'm so thrilled.
We're all thrilled.
I wouldn't care if she was dating an older guy as long as he didn't have children and an ex-wife.
Yeah, well, that has ended.
Good.
Anyway, so I said to Malia, and I don't even know how it came up.
No, I'm kidding.
Yes. I said, well, what about your Tinder profile?
Who, Malia?
Yeah. And she's like, well, I do. She has Bumble or Tinder, or they have both. And she's like, yeah. She goes, I actually download it just so we can judge others. And then what we do is we look at them, we screenshot and send to our friends.
I go, look at him.
And go, here's your boyfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
And she goes, but you'd be surprised how many boys are really bad at Tinder.
Oh.
And I said, really?
I'm not surprised.
And they're men. Me neither. And so I said, like, what? She goes, you'd be surprised how many...
It's a picture of their dick.
No.
Really?
How many men... their profile on Tinder or Bumble is they're topless. Like, they have no shirt on.
That's what I'm telling you. That's equivalent to me saying it's a dick pic.
Yeah.
They're dumb. They just have no fucking clue.
And then the other thing was, they said, and you'd be amazed.
Of course, if the women were topless, they'd be like, hey, you probably have 6,000 DMs.
And she said you'd also be amazed how many use group photos as their profile picture. And she goes, and 100% of the time, it's the ugliest boy in the photo.
And you know what I've seen on those things? Because I've looked. Not because I'm looking for a mate.
I'm so curious.
But just because I'm curious to know what the dating life is like for young single people now. Half of them have pictures of an ex-girlfriend that they've attempted to crop out. But their hair or their shoulder or something is in the picture. I'm like, you moron.
Some claw with red nails.
Something. Yes. And they're like, what? You can't see her face. I'm like, you are such an idiot.
So we went through, and she goes, for example, and she showed us all a photo of this man who was clearly in his 30s. She goes, he claims he's 21. I'm like, oh my God. I go, there is gray hair in his beard. I'm like, and it's a full beard. I'm like, if
you're gonna lie, you gotta lie within like 4 or 5 years. You can't freaking say you're 21.
Ridiculous. And so I was like, she goes, there's a lot of topless or shirtless men. Lies about their age, or they want really weird, specific things. From,
Try a hooker, idiot.
That's what I said. I go, you know what? You want to be that specific about weight and height and color.
And they want it for free. That's what gets me. I'm like, you idiots. You're not ordering fucking takeout.
I know. It's like, they used to do mail order brides. I don't know if they do that anymore.
Yes, they do.
Then go fucking find it.
Well, they don't even want to be married. Guys like that are so shallow and egotistical that they actually think that they have the right to dictate very specific details and just have a girl want to date them.
And they look like a sloth.
Right?
And they're disgusting.
And even if you don't look like a sloth, and when I see guys that are like kind of GQ and you can tell they shaved their chest and they probably bleached their asshole and stuff like that, I don't even see that in them. I'm like, okay, I know you think you're hot, and probably by any standard, if you were in a club, you would get some looks.
Sure.
Because you're attractive.
And then your mouth opens.
And either that, or at the end of the day, when we go to have sex and you take your underwear off, I'm still going to see a shit skid in there. Yeah. So you're not all that in a bag of chips.
That's
you better have something more to sell than what you think you look like.
You're still a human, and you still have to do all the things that humans do. You're not a Ken
And you still
doll.
may fart while you're walking up to the front door ending a date.
That's right.
So... I'm just, but
anyway, I'm like,
with being old.
And then it was funny because Mackenzie, she goes, Mom, you would have to do this if you were single at your age. And I'm like, I would never. I wouldn't. I go, Mackenzie, you underestimate my power.
So bad.
I'm like, I don't have to do this. And she goes, you would. She goes, everybody does it. I'm like,
no,
I don't. I never will, and I never have, and
You would have to join, like, you would either have to get a job, not because you need the money.
No, I would absolutely get out there in another way.
Or you would have to be like in some social circle.
I'd join a club.
Yeah.
I'd probably have to learn how to play golf and join a country club.
Yes. Oh, God. Perfect.
And then I'd meet somebody.
Hopefully our husbands die at the exact same time.
Or if I still look young, I would work it somehow. I'd work there.
Jamie, it doesn't even matter if you're young because we were just talking about how good Mother looks. I had to revisit some
really
pictures
good.
and I'm like,
you're right.
No, I was saying if Mom's husband died, which I pray for every day, then I could definitely see her getting another man.
Yeah.
She's still like spicy and she's pretty and
Absolutely.
I could totally see her. And she's in her early 70s. She's kill me for saying that right now.
She considers it a source of pride that in her medical files it says appears younger than she actually is.
Really?
Yes.
Like, can you screenshot that for me?
She goes, I consider it.
I'll put that on my Tinder profile.
She's like, I read it myself, and I'm like, I believe you. I believe
her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mom tries to claim like she's so humble and
oh my God, she's not humble.
But
she's vain, just like the rest
of
her.
For her Christian values, those kinds of things shouldn't matter. But
yeah, she's still vain.
Honestly.
Anyway, okay, so it's time to do some ugly and awkward moments of the week. All this talking about dates and stuff, we're going to do bad first dates.
Oh, Lord.
I have 2.
Well, I've already told mine. You all know it.
Yes, and it kind of prompted that. I wanted to talk about.
The only thing worse than a fart would be like diarrhea, so go. Let's hear this.
Oh, well, you're going to like this one.
I knew it.
Here's the first one that's not hard.
It's my worst nightmare.
This is an awkward moment, but it turned out okay. This is our first date. We went to sushi. I was telling a story and I used my hands a lot. I knocked a glass over and we both watched it slowly roll off the table and fall onto the floor.
No one bothered to stop it.
Nope. And then a small child was running around her family's table, stops right next to ours, stares at us, and proceeds to vomit everywhere.
Oh, God.
But we're engaged. So,
aww.
Awkward first date, but it worked out.
That worked out because it didn't involve bodily function.
This one takes place in the UK, and so I made some changes to the verbiage because I struggled because I don't speak like a British person. But this is basically...
We don't speak English?
How it went. And this actually made the news.
Oh, Lord.
And I don't know when. I didn't look at the date, so it could be old, and you may have heard the story, but I'm going to tell it anyway because I'd never heard it. Our first date started out great. We'd had a really nice evening. We had a meal at a well-known chicken restaurant and had a few beers, and then went back to my place for wine and a movie. She went to the bathroom and had gone poo.
Oh, God.
First of all, what woman goes poo on the first date?
I don't know if this is a British thing. It would never happen to me. I would be like, you know what? I have to call it a night.
Stephanie, I couldn't even urinate on a first date. Like, I would be like, okay, gotta go.
Well, I mean, the whole story from the gate for me is like, I would never, on a first date, I would not be going back to his apartment for drinks and a movie.
Thank you.
Because there's no good can come from that.
Unless you want to get laid.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so she panicked because it wouldn't flush down.
Oh, God.
So she did what no one would do. She picked it up out of the toilet and tried to throw it out the window
my God.
into a garden.
Oh, my God, you idiot!
She didn't throw it hard enough.
And it smeared everywhere.
No, it landed in between. And the only way I can describe the way this window is that there's a top rectangular opening.
Yes.
And she put the window down.
Yes.
In between was like a good, probably 1.5 or 2 foot gap in between the outside window and the inside window.
Oh, God.
It landed inside, in between both windows.
Oh, my God.
So to make matters worse, I'm going to read it, even though I know it by heart now because I couldn't believe what I was reading. Instead, she didn't throw it hard enough, and it got stuck between the two non-opening windows. She then climbed in head first to get it and got stuck.
So, is this real?
It's real. I saw the video. It's real. I had to call the fire department to free her from the window as well as the poo. The window was destroyed in the process. We did have a second date because we realized we got the hard stuff out of the way, and she's a very lovely girl. Okay, first of all...
You're a liar. She's not lovely. And
she's a pig.
She's disgusting.
She picked up her poo at a person's home that she did not know, and then tried to fling it out a window into some poor person's garden.
So I honestly...
If you came across that in your garden, you'd be like, what kind of creature?
Well... It's one of those things that happens where you're like, I have no explanation for why this happened.
One bad thing after another. I mean, awkward isn't even a word to describe how awkward this girl was.
That is awkward. Yeah, no.
She made the mistake of actually defecating at a person's house.
Thank you. We start at square A.
Like how
that
quickly,
just doesn't happen.
How quickly does the chicken go through you, lady?
Honestly, and if it wasn't the chicken, then you were already primed for before.
You were crowning before dinner. Like what? You couldn't poop at the restaurant?
I mean, desperation.
Is that a bridge too far for you? My God.
Let's wait till we get to his tiny little 1-bedroom apartment where I'm like 10 feet from the couch.
Because you know he's poor.
But there's a door. Yeah.
What's the kind of windows this home has?
Yeah, but in England, their flats are notoriously tiny.
They are.
So, and it's kind of like living in New York, Manhattan, or San Francisco. Like, if you can afford to live there, unless you're a freaking billionaire, you have a little tiny house.
I mean, for me, after I marinated on this story, I'm like, so she was willing to do all of these things instead of just coming out and saying, okay, this is really embarrassing, or God forbid, picking up something and breaking it apart. I'm like, I know
there's
disgusting.
So many choices that she could have made.
She couldn't break it up. I'm getting sick. Okay.
Well, and honest to God, Jesus, I mean, how big is your shit?
Well,
I mean, if I'm in that position to where my stomach is I'm going home.
I mean,
I'm going home.
Especially if it was so large that it wouldn't flush. It'd be like, I can't believe after a week of constipation, this is what did it.
This is where I'm going. Yeah.
I'm like, no.
I'm sorry, but you know what? Your stomach hurt before you got to that apartment. And I would have been like, you know what? Dinner was lovely.
And I really want to do this.
Yes.
But I really need to go.
Yeah. I'm just, I have an early call or
anything.
Or even, that chicken's not selling well with me. Anything,
Would have been better than that.
OMG.
I will concur that one time I had an excrement of that level where it wouldn't flush without
my son
without assistance, and it was after I had abdominal surgery.
Okay, right?
That's it. That's the only time.
Because it was a medical issue.
Everything else it was normal, but this was like I was horrified. Because I had to deal with it.
Well, my son, because he struggles with stomach issues,
it runs in the family.
With our boys, it does. Yeah. With our little boys, it always has. So it's always like when he finally does it, it's like ta-da! He has to come and show everybody, and it's unbelievable.
Do you know how
many? That came out of your little tiny ass. He goes, "That's why I didn't want to go because it hurts." I'm like, I bet it did.
I will tell you though, I have heard and seen so many stories of men taking photos of their poop because they're big and they're proud of it.
God.
Daryl knows these people. I mean, this is not an uncommon thing. God. This is some source of pride.
No.
Can you imagine if I sent you a photo of my dookie?
Oh my God.
Stephanie, oh my God.
I don't need to memorialize that ever. I
don't even want to see pictures of anything of you.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of, and I know we're probably out of time, but I saw the most interesting commercial this morning.
What?
It kind of reminded me of when I first discovered Lumi.
What?
And I'm like, damn it, why don't I not think of these things? Why don't we think of these things before somebody else does?
What?
So it was a postpartum kit. And basically the whole commercial, have you seen it?
Is it Frida?
Yes.
Yeah.
But the commercial itself is what I loved about it. The commercials are great. Raw.
Their social media is amazing.
I bet.
Yes.
I was already thinking that. As soon as I saw the commercial, I'm like, whoever this is brilliant.
Yep.
Because it's very real. It's a real thing.
It's very,
if you've had a baby, you know what that shit is like because you're trying to care for a brand new newborn and you're bleeding and you're sore and you're disgusting and you can't shower and there's so many things that are going on with your body physically. Yep. And I'm like, and they're showing, and the hospital sends you home with these things. They send you home with these pads and these underwear that are horrible and cheap and they're whatever,
Yep.
And when you've never had a baby, you don't think about shit like that. Now, if I were to have a baby, I'd be fully prepared.
Of course.
I'd have the pens and diapers and all.
But as a first mother, you don't know what to expect.
You don't know.
And they don't really prep you and just say, don't worry, we'll provide these things for you or whatever.
Well, you don't think about the aftermath. You just think about you're going to have the baby and you're thank God not going to be pregnant anymore.
Think, I'll just walk around. It'll be normal.
No. Yes, you've literally just delivered a freaking meatloaf.
And what sucks about it too is that nobody can help you.
It's super private. You are on your own.
It's not like your husband can come in and do it
if you have a spouse, they still can't help you.
No.
They can watch the baby and make sure they don't die while you're in there.
No, this is your body. You have to attend to it. And the added pressure is when you have a screaming baby,
Right, and that's what I loved about this commercial. So it's showing this woman bleeding, we've all had
gingerly.
Yes. Ugh. We've all had the little water bottle that they give you from the hospital that fill this with warm water.
And you have to wait for the water to warm up so you can fill it.
You do.
It's the worst.
It's a lot.
It's hard.
So I was like, you know what? Brilliant. I'm so kudos to them for thinking of giving someone the most luxurious way.
And by the way, if you look at it, it's not expensive.
Really?
If you look it up, it's not expensive.
It's not something you need for very long. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that it's not like they've made it so high price point that no one can afford it.
No one would do it. Yeah.
It's not the goop of, vaginal cleansers. It's actually meant for normal humans.
Well, and that's the thing about postpartum is like, as horrible as it is, it literally lasts like a week, or 2 weeks, depending on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not part of your life forever.
They even have stuff if you have cesarean.
Yes, God.
They have everything.
That is literally
so. Anyway, yeah,
kudos to women who
what's the word? They're not a partner, but I fully endorse Frida.
Yeah,
Frida, Frida, they're the best.
Well, I just literally saw my first commercial this morning, so I was like, God, I'm so glad somebody thought of this.
It's great.
I just wish it would have been me.
I agree. I loved it.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, well, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. Thank God. Look, I love working. I do love doing producer Dove and I had a great show. It was fine, but we do not have the ability to talk for a very long time.
Well,
so
that's
like our
you
shows
live
are very
together.
short. Well, not only that, but we talk all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
He was giving me
If I had to sit down and talk to Jerry like this for an hour, I couldn't even make it 15 minutes.
Well, it was funny. I told him, I said, because I told him I wanted to go unedited. I just said, let's just do it raw. Let's do it live. We'll do it live.
Oh God.
Because I'm like, I want people to hear what it sounds like.
Lee.
I know. One day you and I will do an unedited one for sure. But he said, he's like, well, it's just hard because you're wearing a robe and you're holding coffee and you're acting, and I did wear a robe.
He was turning it into a sexual thing?
No, it wasn't sexual. He was trying to just say, I was very rummy and I had not slept very much.
Okay.
Because I had stayed up.
So what was he saying? Was it a criticism?
A little bit.
Oh, okay.
A little bit.
I was like, what? Because Daryl's either one or the other. It's either,
I was just being kind
you're
of
sitting
weird.
there in your robe and you look sexy
Your
and
robe.
I can't help it.
No, because I was being a bit diva. I had my second cup of coffee. I had my legs crossed. I had my white robe with my fur trim on, and I was I had my pinky in the air.
You were
apparently.
begrudgingly doing the show with him.
We needed to do the show, and we had waited till the last minute.
You could have done best of.
I said that, and he's like, "No, we'll do it."
Because you suggested it the week before, 2 weeks before, and I was like, maybe she'll just do a best of, and she won't kill me. And
I was not going to kill you anyway. I was telling, you haven't heard the show, but I did say, I'm like, no, Stephanie has been, she's like vigilant. She's like, no, we will not miss an episode.
Yeah, I know. So I think I've missed 2, maybe 3. I was trying to count. I was like, okay, since
I don't think
March.
you've missed that many.
Well, maybe I rescheduled. In my mind, it's one and the same.
No.
Like, if I change the date or if I...
Legit, this is the only one this is the first time you've skipped a show.
And I am telling you, I didn't even go get my nails done.
No, you had shit to do. And
I was so tired.
Yes.
Jamie, it was like I slept the whole night and it was like I could do it 2 times more.
Yeah, of course.
I was literally exhausted.
No,
I don't even know why.
Producer Dove loves to get behind the mic sometimes. It's his favorite thing.
Well, don't get used to it, Producer Dove.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
our deal.
Before I poke myself
you guys
in
are
the
starting
eye,
a podcast, right?
Yes, when we did talk about that.
So yeah, well, I saw it in the headline or whatever.
We did talk about it because he doesn't want to start it until the studio is all built out, so that everything's kind of perfected. I have so many visions of what I want our studio part to look like.
Yes,
I'm just like, it's gonna be.
Are you gonna make
girly.
it kind of girly?
Oh,
okay,
yes,
good. Okay,
girly.
I was like, it's not gonna be like an office.
No, and I said, and I want a neon sign, and he's like,
yes.
what? I'm like, you got that? I do.
Hell
want a neon sign.
You should see Kyle Richards when you walk into her.
Oh, is it girly and
it's
fancy?
very girly,
like,
and she has
white fur chairs.
She has stuff like that, yeah, and she has a neon sign.
But then I was thinking, I'm like, do we want chairs so we're sitting across from each other? Or do we want to sit on a couch and sit across from each other? I think we should have the table.
I do too, and otherwise, because like as we progress, and we get more known, we may have materials or things we want to have on there.
I do want a TV screen so when we Google
computers,
shit, so when we Google shit, we can look at it and see it.
Yeah,
that
well, I can bring
nice.
I'll start bringing my laptop and stuff like that to make it easier. But
oh no, Daryl's got a whole setup in his brain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he wants to actually sit in when we're recording.
Oh, cool. Like, so he can
be
like
producing and doing things. When
that would be so fun.
Like real professionals.
Yes, that would be fun.
I love it. I totally
would think that would be amazing.
Yeah, I absolutely want to do it. Anyway,
yeah,
all right. We'll see you next week, everyone. Bye.